Why don't we go to the Lord in prayer? Let's close our eyes. Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you so much for today. And God, I thank you that you've kept us safe, Lord, and you've continued to do your work here at CFA. And so we ask you that you would bless this time together. May we learn, may we grow, and may you help us minister to our children more effectively. And so, Lord, we're so thankful for all that you do. We pray that you would bless this time. It's in your sons and we pray. Amen. Amen. I'm going to invite Miss Esteville up to share, and I want to let her and Miss Yasmin know to pay attention to the participants log so we can let people in if they join late. All righty, Miss Esteville.
All right. Thank you for joining us. We're excited that you all are here with us. I know that this is a hot topic lately, and so having Miss Yasmin here is a blessing for us. And we want to hear and we want to learn from you today. So before I invite her up, I want to share some of the events that are coming up. So can you believe we're at the end of the quarter? No, I don't believe it either. We're like planning our graduations and planning our end of the year events, and we're just, whoo, it's been a ride, hasn't it? But God has been so faithful through it all, and I'm so thankful to him. So a couple of things I want to mention. On April 22nd, we have our Earth Day Chapel. And so Miss Joy is going to be leading us during that time. We're still not inviting the parents yet, but hopefully next year we'll be doing that. And so, but you can see it online, and she's amazing. If you know her, you know she's just loves the Lord, loves the children, and is so knowledgeable. So I cannot wait for that chapel. We have no school on the 23rd, which is a Friday, because it is our FACS Junior Fine Arts Regional Festival. And so we'll be hosting it here on campus. Some of our children will be participating. So I'm excited. Our CFA singers, and some are going to be in the drama portion. We also have testing coming up. So we're going to be sending that information next week. That is our OSAT and SAT testing. So we're going to be encouraging parents, make sure they get a lot of rest, they eat breakfast, they're here on time, and so all that good stuff. So they're ready for testing. May. Teacher Appreciation Week is the first week of May. So if anyone is interested in helping us, please shoot me an email. I would love to get a few parents to help out in just blessing our teachers that week. They work so hard, as you all know, and we have such amazing teachers that we would love to just make them feel special that week. So if you want to participate, please shoot me an email, and I would love for you to join me during this time for that. I'm going to let a few people in. There we go. Okay. All right. And then we have our spring programs. So we're excited about that. We have our K2 through K5 program on May 12th. And then we have our elementary program on Thursday, May 20th. And we are going to have our fun run event. That is our major fundraiser. And it's such a fun time for our children. And we're going to be sending you some information on that. So before I hand it off to Miss Yasmin, I want to introduce Miss Amy. She's one of our parents, and she's going to be heading our VIP next year. So Miss Amy, yay! We are so excited. So we're already planning for next year. And so we talked about getting together and seeing all the good things we're going to be doing for next year. So if you want to be part of that, please just let us know. And I'm excited for Miss Amy to come on board and help us with that. Woohoo! All right, without further ado, I'm going to have Miss Yasmin come up. And thank you so much for being here.
Hey everyone, I like Miss Yasmin. I don't hear that and I love that. My name is Yasmin. I'm a licensed mental health counselor. I work at Wellspring, and I predominantly work with children, adolescents, teens, adults as well, but that's kind of my population, and definitely anxiety has been on the forefront of. Okay, I admit. No worries. Anxiety has definitely been a hot topic, like everyone has said. So I'm just gonna jump right into it, and we'll start talking about it. And hopefully, my hope is that I can be helpful to you guys and answer any of your questions, and we could just work through this together. So I titled it "Turning a Warrior into a Warrior" because that's kind of our goals, right? That's what we want for our kids. Let me go to the next slide. Screen. Oh, got it. Oh, perfect. Okay. So anxiety gets a bad rap, right? We like want to avoid anxiety and like it's not a good feeling, and we think that anxiety is a bad thing. But really, anxiety is not all that bad. There's a purpose to it, and there's a reason that it's there. So first, it's a necessary bodily response to perceived danger. You know, if a bookshelf is falling over, you get this level of anxiety and you move over. That's healthy. Crossing the street, there's cars. You know, it prevents kids from maybe being rude to their teachers. There's a healthy level of anxiety of there of what might happen if I do something that's, you know, not appropriate. So that's there. And its goal is to be proactive and to keep you safe. And anxiety can be a motivator. There's, yeah, moving that. There's a good and healthy anxiety.
Drag that out of your way.
I'm
And
a tech guy.
you got it. There you go.
Thank you.
No problem. There you go. So just click again when you need it.
Awesome. So this is important for you all to know, especially when you're talking with your kids. You don't want to make anxiety this big monster that we just want to get rid of altogether. We want to just normalize it, that anxiety somewhat is there to help you. It's there to help you out. And it's to know the balance of when it's helpful and when it's unhelpful. Click the screen. Okay. So I like to call when it gets bad, it's this anxiety snowball when it tends to like get turned into something that's unhelpful. And a lot of times we can reinforce anxiety by negative thinking, by worry, and unhelpful responses. And one of those things I work a lot with parents about is like, you know, your kid is scared to go to school. And so the anxiety is building up, but really school's not that unsafe, you know, like they just have something going on inside, and the parents say, okay, so we won't go to school today and we'll just stay home. And it's like, that actually reinforces the child in a way like, I got out of my anxiety. This was awesome. Like, I don't feel this anxiety anymore. I'm going to try this again tomorrow because it actually helped me out. So that could be unhelpful. You know, there's some situations where parents do have to step in and help their kids, but we have to be conscious of, you know, what we're like having our kids get out of, you know, allowing them to get out of because of anxiety. I think it would be better if we help them through their anxiety and really understand where it's coming from and how to help them through it so that they can do things that are helpful for them, like going to school. So like we said, something small can begin to feel very overwhelming and uncontrollable. Unhelpful responses was one of them, like I was saying, like kids not going to school and then just allowing them to stay home. You know, admit. Kids, let's say, you know, something went badly in soccer practice and then I don't want to go to soccer practice anymore. Or even kids that get anxiety, let's say with math class, they don't feel like they're good in math and then they just kind of avoid math altogether. So the avoidance, if you feed into that, is actually reinforcing in a bad way. The body takes that as like, yes, I got out of something bad and I'm going to keep on doing this. And then we know about negative thinking and worry, right? Just one bad thought after another, and it just snowballs into something that can be really debilitating. Should I go this way? There you go. So you want to help your child understand anxiety is there to protect you, but it doesn't always determine what's best for you. And just from a biological perspective, anxiety stems from a part of the brain that's very primal. And that's for a reason, right? When something dangerous is happening, we want a quick response. Just like the car situation, we don't want to be thinking. So anxiety is right here, amygdala. It's in the primal brain, and the prefrontal is thinking, logic, evaluating what to do. So when you're in an anxious state, you're really in your primal sense of your brain, and you're not really thinking clearly. And that's normal. That's actually helpful. That helps us. But that primal part of the brain is not thinking clearly, and it's always not making the best decisions for us. So you really just want to normalize anxiety. You want to teach your child that it's there to protect you oftentimes, but it doesn't always determine what's best for you. So now we'll get really practical. So what do we do now? If we know that, we normalize it, and we talk to our children about anxiety, what to do next. So I included body, mind, and feelings into this. So first, focusing on the body with your kids. Because it is primal. It is this, you feel your muscles tense. You're not really thinking clearly. The first thing you want to do is really to address the body and what's going on in there. So a lot of the times I'll have kids in my office relax their tongue off the top of their mouth just to their jaw, relax their jaws. If any muscles are clenched, relax the muscles and do some good belly breathing. There's a 4, 5, 6 breathing. Breathe in for 4, hold for 5, out for 6. And then you can get creative with it. You can have your kids imagine breathing in their worries and breathing out their worries, breathing in one color, breathing out another color. And that's really just focusing on the body and having them calm whatever's going on inside, so that the prefrontal cortex starts coming online, right? Once the body's calm, then we can start thinking kind of more clearly. And then there's this mind aspect. So I like to use a lot of the times imagination. So a cool way to explain anxiety sometimes is this really goofy guard dog that wants to protect you, right? It's there to guard you. But oftentimes, you know, if it's there, it loves you, it's there to protect you, but oftentimes it can start barking at things that are like unnecessary. You know what I mean? You guys have a dog that when he comes to the door, it's like your family member and it's going wild, crazy. It thinks something's there to like harm you. And really it's just your family members. So you're like, calm down, you know, it's all okay. So sometimes I like to describe anxiety as this goofy guard dog that we just have to, you know, teach. You just have to train. You have to train when it's okay to bark and when it's okay to stay calm by your side. So you can explain anxiety like that. A lot of times I use imagination because anxiety is so not concrete, you know, it doesn't like always make sense and our worries are in our mind. Especially with kids, imagination is the way to go. So a lot of the times at night, maybe kids, it's often normal for them to get worries at night. They're thinking about their next day, things they have to do, things that went on in their day. A great tool, imagination tool, is to shrink an anxious image in your mind. So think of what's worrying you right now. Think of it as a picture in your mind. And now together, we're going to grab our hands and we're going to shrink that image really, really small in our mind. And when it's very small, we're going to move it to the side. And now we want to bring up some pictures of us breathing. Bring a picture in your mind of us breathing. And then bring a picture in your mind of something that made you feel happy and calm. We're going to take that picture and we're going to expand it in our minds. And you see, you're just shrinking something that's, you know, in their mind, and you're expanding something that's big. That's using imagination. Purposely thinking of a happy memory. I like to also do an activity of locking in anxiety in a tight safe. We call that the container exercise in my office. So think of a container that's big and strong and that can hold all your anxiety. And I want you to imagine putting all of that into the container super light, super tightly, and locking it up. And where do you want to place that container? They'll say in the bottom of the ocean, or, you know, in a lock safe, whatever it could be. And then, okay, just know that your anxiety is safe there and your body can be here right now. And then another one is acting like your favorite superhero, putting on the, you know, they say put music on, act like your favorite superhero, almost putting this persona of like brave and strong. You know what I mean? All these types of imagination tools, it's good for their mind, for them to really take anxiety, something that's become a worry that's maybe irrational or not real, and just minimize it and bring up something that is real, something that's happening right now, something that's happy, makes them feel good. I'll move this real quick. Oh, perfect. Okay. And then I want to get to the feelings part here, because we don't have to feel our feelings. I say oftentimes feelings are messengers. They send a message, and then it could be our job to determine if the message is true or not and what we want to do with that. So, you know, when your child comes to you with these big emotions, big feelings, you know, they don't have to control them. You could say we don't have to fear our feelings. Let's hear what they're saying. Let's hear what they're telling us, and then let's think about it. Let's think if that's true or not and what choices we want to make. So feelings are not the bad guy, they're messengers, and we want to pay attention to them, but we don't want them to control all of our actions. We really want to be having choice in our lives, right? And anxiety sometimes feels like it takes our choice away from us, and it's just driving us with worry and fear. Okay. And then I want to talk about a bit when anxiety becomes a big problem in your kid's life. So there's a problem when a child's anxiety interferes with her ability to handle everyday situations or prompts her to avoid things that most people her age enjoy. So there's a healthy level of anxiety. We all deal with anxiety, right? But when does it become so much of a problem that we might need just external help? We might need a therapist's help. We might need to go see a doctor, things like that. You know what I mean? Things that it feels too hard to handle in the home. You're trying all these techniques and still you feel like you're not going anywhere. And these are kind of some of the symptoms you'll see. Trouble sleeping, complaining about stomach aches, headaches, seriously avoiding situations, very clinging behavior around parents or caregivers, not able to focus in class, explosive outbursts, disruptive behavior, very self-conscious. Usually if this kind of behavior goes on for like, I would say a month to 3 months, and really you're trying these things at home, the breathing exercises and the imagination and, trying to handle the things that are going on at home, and still it's an issue, it could be a good avenue to check in to see a therapist. I work at Wellspring, and a lot of parents come and they've tried a bunch of things and still not working. And oftentimes there's maybe another reason, a biological reason in their brains, or something really big is going on at home. So just to keep sense of that, when it feels like maybe it's too overwhelming for you, maybe it's not your fault, sometimes it just needs an extra helping hand to help with that. And then I included this slide, like thoughts from the field. So I have been working a lot these days with kids who are going through anxiety. And these are just kind of the things I'm seeing from my sessions that I wanted to bring up here. And one of those things that children are incredibly aware of and responsive to family tension. I put dysfunction in there. I'm just amazed by how children observe what's going on in the family. They observe, especially now, like it's normal for us to even get anxiety over COVID and get a workup over that in our home. And they're watching that and they're picking that up and they're feeling that. So, just something to be aware of if you do feel like your child is exhibiting all this anxiety. Maybe take a look at what's going on at home. How are we acting around our kids? The second one is that they learn by example. You're the model. So just being aware of that, like how am I modeling when I get anxious to my kids? Am I breathing? Am I taking a step back? Is there something in our house that's maybe not working, that's causing anxiety that I can eliminate, or the way I'm talking to my kids? So just being an investigator in your home and seeing what's going on, and kind of looking into that a little bit. The basics really matter. Sleep, diet, exercise, water, the routine of things, community. It is very hard for me to control my emotional reactions if I don't get a good night's sleep, if I'm not eating healthy foods that are good for me, if I'm not going outdoors and exercising my body, drinking water. Definitely during quarantine, my routine being off threw me completely off. Actually, structure routine, very helpful for us. It creates a kind of boundary, and we don't feel out of control when things have a method to them and we know what's coming up next. Routine is very important. And then the aspect of community that we lost during COVID, I feel like, a lot of times we regulate our emotions and feelings in a community setting. I'll share a quick story. My dad was a little bit of like a germaphobe, and when I was really small, I used to eat Cheetos. I would bite the Cheeto and put the one that I touched on the side because it had germs and I couldn't touch it. And I'm doing all these things, and then I see my friends just like, eating Cheetos with their hands, and I'm like, maybe this isn't, like, maybe I'm thinking of this in a weird way, like it's not me, like everybody else like is doing things, and like I could do that too. Like maybe I'm doing things that are wrong, and it's not that anxiety provoking, and maybe it won't make me sick to eat the whole Cheeto. So it's almost that community aspect that you begin to like see your reactions to things, your thoughts, and it kind of regulates it with the group. And I think that community aspect has been missing a lot of the times now during COVID. And just being at home a lot, not having, your friends near you, that's been so, so hard for kids. And really, you're just in your mind all day. You're in your room. Nothing new is going on. There's nothing to distract you from your thoughts. So I'm happy you guys are doing your protocols and you're in school and things are, you're trying to make it work here because that's so important. And then laughter and play are necessities. And play especially for that imagination piece. If kids are not playing and using their imaginations, I find that in sessions when I do want to use imagination to help them with anxieties, it's so difficult for them to even think of the concept of like shrinking image, breathing in colors and using that as a tool for them to work through whatever they're going through, their anxiety, depression, whatever it may be. So lots of laughter, lots of play. It's so, so healthy for kids. Even for us, play more. I included some helpful resources. Sissy Goff, she's a therapist as well. She's a Christian, and she writes great books, Raising Worry-Free Girls, Are My Kids on Track? Maybe you'll send a PowerPoint or something because it's a link, I realize it now. There's books about mental health that you can read, a book about anxiety and a cool story. I think that's a great tool for parents, reading a book about some type of mental health issue, and then having conversations. Oh, what was that in the book? And do you feel that way? And I think books and movies and music are great tools to begin talking about these topics with kids. And then websites, our website, wellspringmiami.org, we put a lot of good content out, helpful content on just mental health issues. Child Mind Organization, a help guide, focus on the family, parenting. They have great resources, articles, tools. So whatever is helpful, just throw it out there. References. This is our staff. So just a shout out, if you really do feel like your kid is really struggling with anxiety and it doesn't seem like things are working at home, we're there, we're therapists just ready to help out. And we're actually cool. We have different locations, but now we're doing through telehealth. So it's actually, if you do live far away, that's actually very convenient that you can just reach a therapist through Zoom, kind of how we're doing now. And that's kind of a wrap. So thank you. I'm open to taking questions. Any way I can be helpful or share my knowledge. Awesome. I could do Alt N.
Yeah.
You ever do Alt?
Yeah. Hi guys. So I'm gonna join Miss Yasmin up here. So if you want to speak or if anybody here has a question, everybody will be able to see you and all that stuff. And as you think about that, I'm actually on the board for Wellspring, and it's an amazing organization. I got started as a volunteer and doing Bounce Camp with Miss Yasmin, where we helped children that were struggling with, any type of crisis or trauma that they went through in their life. And to see the kids really their lives transform after 1 week in camp, it just made me a believer in the mental health services that Wellspring provides. And so I've been able to get therapy through Wellspring. I've been able to go to a retreat for PTSD. I was able to attend a marriage conference with my wife. And both of those things have completely transformed the way I see mental health and the way I process things. And so I definitely, if you're looking for a Bible-based counseling center, for you, for your child, for a loved one, I believe in Wellspring 100%. And so, she has her contact information there. We're going to be sending all those links and books and resources in our follow-up email that we send out through MailChimp. And so you'll get an email from the school with all the books and stuff, and also Wellspring's contact information. Because truly, when we let God's truth permeate those lies that we pick up throughout our life, amazing things happen. And so I'll stop now. I can help you manage if anybody has any questions.
Yeah, I'd love to hear about your kids, maybe the struggles you're going through. And
So May, I know we're
yeah.
I guess with my daughter, with my 5-year-old, like I feel like she's doing a lot of like separation, right? Like not only from like me and like my husband, or like of friends, for example, like let's say a friend of her comes over to play. like I'm already like mentally prepared that, oh my God, when her friend leaves, this is gonna be like a whole meltdown. Like, I mean, a meltdown that if anybody listens to us, I think we're killing her, you know?
Yeah.
Like that's how bad it is. And like, and then I know I shouldn't come here, you know, but like but then like my 3 years is more like, okay, bye, you know, like, so I'm seeing like the difference in how she's so emotional. And she's just like one topic now. Let's talk about her hair. She's not happy about.
Yeah.
So how I'm trying to figure out how do I deal with that? It's not only when families, but it's like if her aunt comes over and anybody that she truly loves, they'll go away when they come over. Like I'm ready for like, okay. So I've tried to like, we'll go on a little walk together and she'll tell me, she's like, oh, but I love my friend and I want to play with my friend. And I try to explain to her, I'm like, I know your friend loves you too. And even though they leave, doesn't mean we're never going to see them again, right? So I try to talk her through it. And we're like on a whole hour, like walk. It could be like 9 o'clock at night. And I'm like, oh my God, it's bedtime. But
We gotta walk it through and talk it out. Yeah.
And like stuff like that. So I guess what I picked up from your PowerPoint, I guess at those moments, my instinct was to like, how do I prevent it from happening?
Yeah.
But I guess I have to kind of help her through it.
Yeah. She might need to hear, yeah, you're really sad right now and this is really hard. And what do we need to do right now, you know?
And she'll just cry and cry. It'll just be like the whole night is like over. So I kind of have like on college and my friends not doing school nights because it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
But like I sometimes I worry. I'm like, why does she get like that? It's just like this desperate cry, like, oh my God, like, the person's gone forever.
Yeah.
You know, so and I worry about that. At the beginning of the school year, she was like that too. I would even say until like January. She was
Yeah.
like that. We finally overcame that. But even the whole separation from school, coming to school, she would sometimes throw up in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Like I think like 2 or 3 times now. I just kind of tell her teachers like I'm just gonna keep her home. But then I guess that was not a good idea either, you know? Because I will feel
It depends. It depends. Yeah.
you know? Like,
Yeah. She's gonna pass out at school and it's gonna be really bad.
I just take her home with me. So I mean, and now even though she doesn't throw up anymore, she still wakes up in the morning. She's like, my tummy hurts, and I'm
I'll make
like,
it before school.
and just because we're getting ready for school, and the night before, she'll be like, are we going to school tomorrow? And I'm like, let's talk about all the fun things we did at school today. I'm like, you know, you learned this, you did that, and then I'll try to like, go around the topic. I'm like, okay, and just like
Yeah.
forget about it, you know.
Yeah.
So,
There's a lot of different things you can try now while you're talking and I'm
Yeah.
thinking,
I
yeah.
feel like there's so much going on with her now, like, and I don't know where it's coming from because nothing really at home has changed. And
Yeah.
I mean, everything, even with COVID, I've always tried to maintain everything kind of the same
Mm-hmm.
in a way, you know, like without
Yeah,
her really noticing much. So I don't know if I should just just continue, I guess, just helping her with those.
Has it been, it's been a long time that she's been like this
Oh,
anxious?
I mean, I could go back to since she was a baby.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
always been, and then I would sometimes worry. And I would talk about it with the pediatrician, maybe there's something else I should worry about. And she would just like, no, she's just an oversensitive child.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay.
What do I do with that? Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm more, I guess I'm not really like that. I don't know. And then I see my 3-year-old that's like, she's 3 going on 10.
Yeah.
And she's more like 5. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and then she'll sit there and like laugh at her, you know? So I'm like,
Yeah. And it might be like that. Her parenting style looks different than your other, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, like her. Yeah, my little one, she's more like,
Yeah.
whatever. Doesn't care about anything. But
Yeah.
my big one is more like emotion. And now she's going through also, why did God give me curly hair? Because she has curly hair and her sister's straight hair.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't pick that. I don't know. You
Yeah.
know, and I kind of made the mistake of kind of telling her, oh, but it's beautiful because God gave it to you. So that kind of reversed on me because now it's like, why did God give that to me? So we're going through that one too. And I'm like, I can't crunch it. I try to crunch it so that like she could say, I live one too, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
It'll come out the same.
I know. That's hard, even for you, you know? And
Yes, I want her to feel confidence every night. I'm like, repeat with mommy, my hair is beautiful. Let's say it. That's
Yeah.
amazing, beautiful. She's like, wow, man, you do.
it's like, I'm not believing this at all.
Yeah, I'm like, we're gonna fake it till we make it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I feel like there's like so much in her that I want to help her through.
Yeah. It sounds like you're already doing a great job.
Yeah, I'm trying, because I guess with the whole separation part, my instinct was to like, how do I prevent this? And I always thought, like, your friend's coming over,
Yeah,
don't throw a fit. Like,
right, right.
But then I'm like, okay, and it still happens. So I guess just continue doing that with her, right?
Yeah, you could, I mean, yeah, maybe extra support for you. Maybe therapy would be helpful for her. But try that. Try normalizing it. You have really big feelings right now, or like that's sometimes I like externalizing anxiety. Like that's not you, that's your anxiety talking. So you could say things like, I see your anxiety showing up, how can we,
What can we
like,
do to make it better?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, your friend is coming over,
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
She goes home to her house, now.
Yeah, you can even run through sometimes just knowing the plan. Your friend is coming over, this is going to happen. And then when she leaves, what's our plan? What are we going to do when she leaves? Because sometimes you get big emotions. How are we going to, so even pre-planning her friend coming over. And so she knows, what's going to happen, the rundown of it. So yeah,
Usually when I take her over to a friend's house, I have to pull her, like carry her, my 5-year-old down the street,
yeah, yeah,
because she would not leave.
right. Yeah,
She would not leave.
yeah.
So you don't think it's something I should worry about, right? It's just something I should
Yeah, work through.
work through with her.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe a counselor would be helpful for that situation. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Sit her through all of that.
Yeah, and even giving you tools, things to try, yeah,
For sure. I'll call you.
yeah. Support is
See the
so
glass
helpful.
bar.
Be good, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, and I love what you said about those emotions are messengers.
Yeah,
And it's actually excellent because so many times we feel, I believe, in general, that those emotions are really the action, it drives us, and it shouldn't be driving us.
yeah.
And that's perfect what you said,
Mhm.
that it's actually sharing with our students, hey, we have a lot of emotions even as parents.
Mhm.
And I love that.
And they're valid. Yeah, you don't want to shut down the emotion. You want to,
You
yeah,
have to pray through it and ask
yeah,
God and really, let's talk through it. And what are we going to do with these emotions?
right.
And these are the different ways we can respond. And
Yeah.
why are you doing that? So that's wonderful what you shared. And that would be helpful for us as our children deal with that.
Yeah.
Is to, okay, what are your feelings? What do you need? What are some things that we can do? The moment you start feeling that, okay, what are some options? And then even help her to have options. What's going to make you feel better? What can I do to make you feel better? Okay, so that's wonderful what you said.
Training her to kind of problem solve her own
Yeah.
situation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I guess my mommy instinct is to like, let me help you get out of this.
Yeah.
I think in our society, definitely we're seeing so many emotions and so many things outbursts without really filtering and holding back. And I think, that's what you're sharing with us is so true. And that's something that the Word of God tells us to filter our emotions, to really think upon these things before we do so. And that's really training our children to do the same.
That's a whole other level of learning. Yeah, they're learning that. Mhm.
I deal with all that feeling, all that emotion,
Yeah.
Like so much of it. Like it's just so little, so much of it.
And it's true what you said. Like they're anxious and you want to solve it and you want to make it okay. And yeah,
So you're like, okay, your friends come over on the weekdays.
I know.
Like,
Yeah.
and you'll melt down.
Yeah.
But like, I don't want to kind of remove her from situations either. Like, learn
Right.
how to overcome all that.
For
feeling.
sure. Yeah.
I mean, I was tempted at the beginning of the school year. It's like, forget it. I'm just gonna homeschool her.
Right.
But then I was like, no. What are we gonna do at home? Like, she's never gonna overcome this.
Right. Yeah.
Like, pretty much she just has a job that she can, or like something,
Mhm. You want to think about like in the future, what message am I doing right now? How are they gonna like act in the future? Based on this right here.
Yeah, I'm disabling her in a way by just removing her from school. I was tempted because she would be crying out there in front of everybody. And I was like, oh my God, I'll be get it together.
Yeah.
So my little one just walks in, she's like,
Bye. See you later, Mom. Yeah.
and my big one's like clinging on to me. Yeah, it's so different. This is different.
Yeah.
And then the big one's like clinging onto my leg. I'm like,
That book, Raising Worry-Free Girls by Sissy Goff. That I think that, oh, I think that'd be a great resource for you too. Yeah, yeah,
For sure.
yeah.
Thank you.
No, but you love your daughter. That's great. You're doing, the mama
Trying,
thing. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, kind of just to help her. She's so like,
yeah.
yeah.
It's good. It's learning. She's learning. She's gonna master this, and she's gonna be able to notice anxiety and what can I do, and it's helpful for her.
Yeah, and I do notice when I tell her, let's breathe together.
Yeah.
Let's breathe, just hold it. And then I see her makes me feel a little better. She's like, a little. I'm like, okay.
I know. When to rescue, when not to. It's the balance of a parent of like, yeah, when to step in, yeah.
And then try not to get mad. Because sometimes, like, after like an hour of like you having a fit, I'm like, come on, like,
Yeah.
Abby, please, like, your friend will come back tomorrow. We'll see her like, I promise.
For you, it's logical, right? And for her, it's like, I'll never see her again.
So you get her to understand, doesn't mean you'll never see your grandma again or your whatever again. Like,
Yeah.
I love that analogy of the goofy guard dog. Like to
Mhm.
me, that is so good because that's exactly that. Even like a dog when their loved ones leaves or whatever, there's like it's that same feeling, and it's because it comes from that primal place. And but I think as a kid, like if I were to learn that and hear that and understand, I think I can understand. Oh, that's that goofy guard dog in me that just wants to protect me or whatever. But it's kind of good because it takes the aggressiveness out of it,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, it's not dangerous. It's just
Right.
like so I think of Scooby Doo, and I think it's just
Yep.
really, I think a really great analogy that is helpful. So thank you
Yeah.
for
'Cause
that.
I think for parents, you're trying to reason with her and like, and maybe she just needs a goofy guard dog example in her mind, and you can talk through that analogy with her, and then she'll understand that kind of language. Yeah.
I'm trying to get her, like, it's okay.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm trying to keep my cool because I'm supposed to be like real. So inside I'm like,
Like, I'm going nuts. Yeah.
like, it's together.
Good point. Yeah.
Breathe, everybody, breathe.
You shared about the feelings, and I know in Bounce we talk about how feelings are not right or wrong. That they're not. They're messengers. They tell us that something is wrong, or and you have to feelings are not right or wrong, but then there's a truth that you might be believing and stuff. And so I don't know if you want to share a little bit about Bounce Camp, the people that it serves, like our audience.
So Bounce is a 1-week trauma resolution program for youth who've experienced a bad event. We say traumatic event. And it happens in the summer, 1 week in June, 1 week in July. And it's kind of like a therapy summer camp in a way. And we teach 6 steps. It's called the Circle of Truth of how to get through bad things that have happened. And we have art activities, groups, teachings, worship music. Alex was singing worship with us. And so, if you know a youth, that's a good shout out. If you know a youth that's experienced just a bad event, even COVID now, it's almost like a traumatic thing for some people, like what had happened. So a really helpful camp. Yeah. So we can maybe plug that. I'll share with you the Bounce link or.
There's scholarships. There's different opportunities.
Yeah, it's funded by Dade County. So if you are a Dade County resident, it's covered by Dade County. So that's good.
And a bad thing can be,
bullying for kids. Yeah, a divorce, a separation, a terminal illness. Like even them witnessing someone in the family that's going through something difficult can be traumatic for a child. Very helpless situation when parent, caregiver, friend, even
a bad choice they made that they're living with the result of. These are all things that would be eligible. So I think the way that it works is a counselor would interview them.
Yeah, you just sign up for the program on our website. We'll do an interview with you, give your child some assessments to fill out to see, what their symptoms are, what they're going through, and then we can determine if Bounce is a right fit or not. And then, from there they'll be part of the program. Yeah, and it is for 10 to 17. I don't know if it's maybe too young or
there's some older.
Yeah.
And this is good too, because it may not be your child, but you might have a friend with a child, or your child might have a friend that has been through something. And I've referred several kids that I was like, okay, wow, what they went through is way over my expertise. And I've referred them and to see their stories and how they came in there like really reserved or upset, whatever, and they left with hope. It's really amazing. so,
I feel like emotional wounds are very much like a physical wound. Like if you break your leg, like that is some attention therapy, like, and it's almost the same exact thing for an emotional wound. Like it needs attention, it needs time, it needs healing. That's kind of how we relate it to, yeah. So thanks for reminding me about that. This was so nice. So happy to be here, just share and
well, Miss
Yeah.
Yasmin's been working hard again. I mean, as you know, with telehealth, and she did a great job with the computer today.
it's like, whoa, this is a nice setup.
And so, I don't know if Ms. Escobar has anything else she wants to share, but I definitely want to pray over her and all of our students.
Any other questions that we might have?
I do really quick.
Yeah.
Just with the testing leading up to, my daughter is very like hard on herself. Like she wants an 8 and I want 100%. And then like now with the testing, I already started like the conversation with her. Like, it was so exciting. We had to go to blood therapy and practice.
Yep.
And I don't want her to have like a shutdown if she gets like. So I don't want her like the first day, like I'm sure she'll do well, but if she feels that she doesn't, I don't want like that snowball. So like Friday, so how can I like encourage it?
Yeah, it's so funny because the kids that I see that are anxious are like great students. Like I'm like, wow, you guys really excel in life, and like, yeah, I know. And you know what? I tell one of my kids, like, your anxiety has been helpful for you because you've been studying extra hard and getting A's. So it's almost reinforced in a way, like her intensity, because she does get good grades. You know what I mean? I think it's just determining like what's helpful, what's unhelpful for you. And validating, like, I can see that you want to do well in school and I want you to do well, and how can I support you in that? Yeah. And seeing, I mean, there's probably a belief to that. At least with one of my kids, I'm thinking like, her worth is tied into grades. I don't know if it's true or not for your child, but just the belief, like, why are grades so important to you? Explain to me why your grade is so important. And yeah, because she might be just attributing some type of worth or belief to the grade that could true, not true. So yeah, seeing why it's so important. Yeah, I know. Yeah. And even reinforcing her in other things she does well, not just school. Because sometimes kids that are great at school, like, you got an A, and they only get praises for like grades, and sometimes the praises for other things kind of go unnoticed. They're like, oh, that's awesome. Great, that's awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Good. Yeah, ask her. That's a good conversation to have with her. You're welcome. Any questions? Good. All right. I don't think anything came in through here, so.